and training facility that's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my co-owner and father, Phil. Guys, another beautiful estate sale arrived yesterday, and I tell you what, at first glance, there are double barrels, single barrel shotguns, a pre-64 Marlin, old ammo, and Paw, there is a darn 357 Magnum Smith & Wesson that I really want, and I already have one. You want to tell them about what it is? Because it was something that
what was that model number again?
a 681.
681 stainless steel 4-inch barrel. The one that Eric has was traded in by from the Highway Patrol.
Oh.
I bought it years ago from Vance's for $200.
Did you really?
Yeah, years ago. And I think the one you have, Eric, has never been fired. The one we got in here just now has never. Looks like it's never been fired.
And this is the significance is a 681 is hard to get model you don't see too often,
and with fixed sights.
Because it has fixed sights.
And
yeah, it just looks like a 686. But I looked in the back and hey,
and it has the Highway Patrol logo stamped on the frame.
And I think it's going to be for sale here shortly.
Yep.
Really?
So, yes, contrary to what everyone thinks, we don't take off all the nice ones, just some of them.
I thought you were keeping that one. Okay.
But,
all right.
Eric, it's hard now getting in firearms that, that you like, but in most cases you already have one.
Yeah. It's neat. I mean,
what does that tell you?
Some might say I have too much, but you know what? It is true collector grade, especially if you have law enforcement history in your family, or especially OSP, Ohio Patrol.
Yeah. I'd never seen a 681 before. I've seen a lot of stuff, but I just hadn't seen that one. That was
right.
Beautiful.
Well, we are the owners of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you the facts about our industry and ultimately help our customers and our listeners with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Guys, I'm excited about the show today because the weather's getting warmer except for today. Summer's right around the corner, and many of us look to potentially change our concealed carry firearm to, as Papa put it last week, a seasonal gun. And it's, those days where it's hot out, you may be in shorts and a T-shirt, and the full-size option just becomes harder and harder to conceal. Or maybe you're looking for something small enough to just put in your pocket at night when you're walking the dog, or to go to the gym with. And there's so many options out there right now, but are they viable options? And we all know the 380 market. There's plenty of options in that, and 380 is certainly adequate, acceptable, proven itself. But how about when you look at the 32, the 25, the 22 Magnum, the 22 LR? Are these viable options in some of these very, very small carry pieces to put in your pocket? We're going to discuss that at 1:30. And there's some neat things. There's some things on there that might just surprise you. Before that, JC has the Gun of the Week, brought to you by Jackson Egress Windows. It's probably, JC, and I didn't want to tell you this, it's probably my second favorite line of guns outside the Smith & Wesson J-frame.
And I told JC that I was going to throw him under the bus.
Yes.
When we first started our show years ago, we took the responsibility of telling all of us members here behind this table what was going on so that we could act a little bit intelligent. Now anymore, John's got the Gun of the Week. I didn't even know about it. And I had to force it out of him.
Yeah, but you know what? I think he is looking for that from within, your reaction.
Within. You mean the spontaneous?
That's what we're looking for.
However, but it'd be nice because I don't know a whole lot about it.
I should have texted you last night, but
yeah,
I was
you
leaning
should
to
have.
something else. But to follow what today's topic is, we kind of switched up on there.
All right.
Thanks to my son, because it's not my gun. It's
like
Colton's
Eric
gun.
said, though, that's what everybody wants to hear is not the.
I don't want to hear a prepared statement on it. I want you to look at it, and I want that initial reaction. That's what the folks want.
My initial reaction would be, "Wow, that's a nice gun. I'll give you 150 for it."
Mine is usually, "Hey, did you know there's a recall on that?"
We want to thank our sponsors: Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, the Trigger Group, our good friends over at Blackwing Shooting Center, Rivers Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, and LEPD training facility, all who make the show possible every week. Jeez, I can't talk this week, guys. Joining me today in the LEPD studio is JC from the sales team. JC, just as a side, and no, there's no ulterior motive here, but is Deb listening today?
I'm hoping so, but I don't know.
Okay, so we shouldn't talk
Easter
about
activities. But
we shouldn't talk about the firearm that you're looking at. Then.
Actually, I told her about that because
You did?
I actually own one already, and it's the first gun that I ever received. I was 10 years old, and this is my first rifle, and we happened to get one in just like it. But I still have mine that looks like new in the box sitting in the gun safe, so I guess I don't need two.
Okay,
I want to.
That's where I'm at with the Smith & Wesson, so
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Ronnie, who makes a Boom Boom Tactical, he's our gunsmith. He sits to my far right. Ronnie, I heard this week you had a loaded firearm pointed at you.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it happened again. And I guess the individual knew it was loaded, but was going to empty it for me, and inadvertently, what do you call that? Where
when they
point
sweep you?
inadvertently sweep me with the gun.
He didn't want to empty it towards you with his finger on the trigger. That would have been another way of emptying it. Not good.
The best thing to do is if you come in and you know your firearm's loaded, let the individual, myself, the gunsmith, or one of the sales guys know that it's loaded. And in here, our practice is to say, okay, well, hand me your firearm and we'll go and we will unload the firearm.
Right.
But, yeah, it happened again, and it just keeps you on your toes.
Well, and I tell you what, it happens more often than you would like to admit. And it happens to us a lot of times when someone brings a firearm in to be traded in. And, of course, the first thing you ask them is, is this firearm safe and unloaded? And they say, of course. And I'm gonna let everyone in on a little behind the scenes. If I rack the slide and the round comes out, you have a $50 idiot fee that I'm taking off of the price. It just happens. I'm not gonna.
It's very frustrating when that happens.
It's very
and there's been a couple of times I politely handed it back to him and said, I think you need to go elsewhere. There's no tolerance for that. There's no excuse. There's no tolerance for that.
Especially when they roll their eyes because it's like I said it's empty and you're going to go check it, and it's like hell yeah, I'm going to check it.
And that is the very reason why when a person comes in that it's not familiar with handguns and they want to buy a gun, I say I steer them towards a revolver because a lot of people will take the magazine out of a semi-automatic and think it's unloaded.
Right.
And that happens all the time.
Yeah, and with a Glock to break it down, you have to pull the trigger.
Right.
If it's
so
loaded,
you can never be too careful. Check it, double check it, triple check it before you come into the store. Always a good rule of thumb. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. That's at 610wtvn.com. It's also on iHeartRadio and iTunes and Google Podcast. A neat way to watch the show is we are on Facebook Live.
Wow.
Neat thing about that, you can see the gun of the week and some of the items beforehand, before we discuss it. And it's out there to see later on if you missed the whole show or if you missed part of the show. The neat thing is Ronnie is monitoring the comments. And I saw someone just chimed in. Did you guys see who's watching today?
No.
Mr. Chuck Douglas.
Oh,
really?
that's Chuck Douglas.
Right.
How do you know it's that Chuck Douglas?
Oh, I know it's that Chuck Douglas.
Okay.
He is a good friend, a wonderful person. I love his show.
Yeah.
I listen to it sometimes at night on the
We used to
drive
be on
home.
the same station.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. So a shout out to our good friend Chuck Douglas who's listening there. And you can follow us anytime on Instagram as well. Guys, it's time for more news around the industry. JC, there is some stuff that is just not good. And I don't know.
I have a story here that I find is just so timely. This happened yesterday, April 19th. We all know that Massachusetts is an anti-gun state, but you may have known this, but you may have heard this, but they actually had a column of soldiers that moved out from Boston and started raiding house to house to confiscate firearms from Americans.
What?
And the citizens responded. Unfortunately, fighting broke out. Several people were killed.
Oh.
And this happened yesterday, 244 years ago. It's not funny. I know. And the citizens who responded were the 80 Minutemen fighting 700 British soldiers. The government was out to take away the weapons from the citizens, and these 80 men went out and stood and faced. So God bless those 80 Minutemen. That happened 244 years ago yesterday. And I'm telling you, American freedom has to be fought for. And we are facing just tenacious times where we have government officials that want to take away your firearms. And some have stated they want to throw you in jail. I mean, that's been right out there. Yesterday I saw that where one of them said, I'm for jailing people who own firearms are coming in and taking them away.
They don't even hide their agenda.
So think about
They
that.
don't.
244 years ago today, that occurred. So just take some time thinking about our freedom and what we have to do to fight for it.
And that's where we're getting to, like Phil said. Now, that used to be they'd keep it all hush-hush, big secret, not tell anybody until I get elected and then let them know. Well, now they don't care.
They don't care.
No, they say it out
telling you
there.
right off the top. A bit of news that we do have that what's kind of interesting, and it piggybacks on Phil's Guns of the Week he had a couple of weeks ago, where you had the 1956 single action from Ruger, the Ruger Security, single six.
The one with the bulge in the barrel.
Yeah, right, that's the single six. But then you also had a modern single six that Ruger makes. Well, now they have just announced coming out with a really affordable alternative to that, which is a pretty expensive gun, but now they're coming out, Phil, with the 22 Wrangler they've just announced, which is a 6-shot. As a matter of fact, it's the same size. It comes with a 4 5/8 inch barrel. The grips will fit with a regular single 6, and all the holsters will fit. Yet the MSRP is $249, and it is what they've done to cut some of the costs. It has an aluminum alloy frame, so it's very lightweight, with a steel cylinder and barrel, obviously. It's a 6-shot. But they Cerakote. It comes in 3 colors, either a bronze with a black cylinder, or all black, or silver with a black cylinder. But with an MSRP of $249, they've announced, that means you'll probably be able to get it for a few bucks less than that. And who wouldn't want nice little 22 Ruger? So I think that is great news for us, and that's going to be hitting the stores there soon.
I kind of like the name too. A lot of times these new names are kind of corny, and but I kind of like that one.
Wrangler.
And it
like
it looks sharp.
Sounds like a vehicle.
No, it sounds like something like when you were 10 years old and had dual 6. You know, the little 6-shooters on your side.
Sounds like my jeans, actually.
Well, it's funny you should. I was just gonna. That's a great segue. Talking about your jeans there, JC. We put up on our Facebook yesterday, and I think we mentioned it in passing a few weeks ago. Do you know how crazy Levi and company has gone now to support the anti-gun movement? They have dedicated all this money, time, and resources to these radical groups that are out there going against the Second Amendment. It's craziness. You got to check it out on our Facebook page.
So save your money, go to Walmart and get some Wranglers.
It's worse than it's worse than what you think. They're actually paying. They could get full pay to leave work and go. All of their employees can go and protest with pay. From Wrangler. That's what this young guy who took over the company's doing. So
what was that
forget the
result
Levi's.
of?
I said if I said Wrangler, I mean forget the Levi's. That's Levi's that is doing this, and Wrangler has been my brand of choice now. So
Eric,
there you go.
Eric, what was that a result of, though?
They I don't know, some shooting last year or something.
They're based in California, and it's picking up with the California stuff. So
that's just crazy. That is crazy. But you know what? You have to support those who support us and who support your beliefs.
Exactly.
You know, and so
it's not like we're boycotting the others.
Correct.
We're not. We're just supporting those
Levi Strauss
that believe in the same
turning
thing
in
we
his
do.
grave. He was
Hey guys, before we go into break, real quick, May 4th, the 4th of May, 4 days into May.
Wow.
2 weeks.
Couple weeks. This show moves to high noon on Saturdays.
I hope my niece Jackie is listening.
We better,
We
if
were
not,
just talking
we should
about
send
that.
her an email.
I think
right.
she's listening.
We're moving from the noon until 1 o'clock time slot. So you're not going to want to miss that. You can kind of catch us early on, then get on with your day, go out and do yard work and so forth. I want to give one shout out to it was kind of a refreshing thing last week. We had an OSU student call up wanting to do an interview for a photojournalism class. And it was going to be a video, very pro firearm and fact-based. And she released it this week. We're going to link to it later this week on our Facebook page. Very well done, very fact-based. It was great, and it's great to see our young people getting in, or at least some of them getting in and talking the facts and supporting the Second Amendment and not just following the bandwagon on these campuses. When we come back from the break, JC will have the gun of the week. It is one of my favorites, JC, and I see it. You brought it in a very high-end carrying case.
Yeah, this is my son's carrying case.
We're on target. We're broadcasting live from LEPD Studios. That's at 999 Bethel Road.
Live local news and talk. Breaking news and severe weather alerts. When it matters most. Columbus's News Radio 610 WTVN.
Thinking about replacing your roof? Call Fiesel. For the past 30 years, Fiesel offers homeowners the best quality, service, and price in the industry. Call 614-QUALITY now during their spring sale and receive 10% off your full roof replacement. All Fiesel installed roofs come with their no asterisks, no middleman lifetime warranty. Fiesel always provides free inspections. Their price match guarantee and financing options.
52.
Sale ends
That's
Memorial
chilly.
Day, so call 614-QUALITY.
I know, right? We just had like 70 like a day or so ago.
I know.
Spring is here. Summer is upon us. Are you ready for a whole summer of fun? Get your Zoom BZ Bay season pass now. Get the entire summer starting at $109.99 and just $79.99 for kids ages 3 to 9. Season passes include free parking, a private entrance, early entry on Mondays and Wednesdays, free dive-in movies Fridays from late June through August, free entry to the zoo all season long, and more. Yes, so much more. Zoom BZ Bay. For more details, ZoomBZBay.com.
March 26, 2018, an SUV was found belly up on the rocks below California's Highway 1.
Investigators have been desperate to figure out how that family flew off that cliff in California and whether it was on purpose.
Broken Hearts, a podcast from Glamour and iHeartRadio investigates with never-before-heard interviews and access to new information. No stone is left unturned.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. On and off again rain, cloudy and cool, high of 53. Tonight the rain is ending, still a little bit chilly though, low of 42. For Sunday, Easter Sunday, mostly cloudy, dry and mild, high of 63. It is currently 52 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Columbus's News Radio 610 WTVN.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios with Ronnie, who makes up Boom Boom Tactical, my father and co-owner, Phil. JC from the sales team has the gun of the week. Guys, I don't know that song.
I don't know. I love
I have
it.
no
It
idea
was really
either.
good, but it's great. I don't know that song either.
Hey, Joe, if you can whisper in my ear or send me a message there, I don't know what that song is. Paul?
I like it, but no,
All right,
no, it's not mine.
All right.
It was good. He knows what he's doing.
So, guys, time for the gun of the week. JC, your gun of the week is one that I also own as well. But you know what? Yours is in such great condition. I didn't even realize those are supposed to be case colored. Now, I will have to say, JC, and you know what? I mean, you're like family and stuff, and I always think of you in so high regards with your knowledge of firearms and everything else. But I'm a little surprised at your carrying case.
Yeah, well, this is.
Is that a size 7/8 sock?
This is not my gun. This is my son's gun. This is Colton's gun, and he's named Colton from Colt. Okay, you get that. So yeah, and this is so he has some Colts, and this is one that he has, and he let me borrow it today. It's also one of his favorites, which is shoot about 100 rounds when he comes in here. But all right, what this is a really interesting and historically significant gun. This is the Colt 1908 vest pocket hammerless 25 caliber pistol. So it is very minute, very small, and it has some wonderful features. And just real briefly, history-wise, which is, of course, one of the most fun things about all this, it was in 1904, and John Browning was 39 years old, and he'd already invented a slew of guns. I mean, too many to even to name here. But he was traipsing around his farm in Ogden, Utah, and he decided that it would really be nice to have. He wore a vest all the time. People dressed up back in 1900s, and he wanted a vest pocket pistol. And there just wasn't anything around. So, of course, what did he do? I'll just invent one. So what he wanted was he didn't want a hammer because that would be too big. He'd already invented the 1903 firearm, the 1903 pistol that has been so popular in the past. But he said it couldn't have a hammer. So he was not the first, but this was the first successful striker-fired handgun in the world. The one before it was the Borchardt, which is a really long firearm invented in 1893, if I remember correctly. And it was just long, heavy, and unreliable. But
so Glock did not come up with the striker-fire pistol either.
John Browning did it in this particular gun in the 1908 Vest Pocket Hammerless. So he wanted a round to go in it. He knew that the .22 long rifle back then, that was invented in 1888, and they knew it just wasn't quite as reliable as what we have today. So he wanted a center-fire, reliable gun, and there wasn't ammo for it. So what did he do? He invented the .25 caliber round in 1904. He was contracted with Colt. He invented a lot of guns. Went to Colt, and Colt at that time said we weren't interested in some little diminutive little pocket gun. So we said great. So he was at a firearm show. He actually literally bumped in, and almost knocked over a guy from Fabrique Nationale in Belgium. Showed him the idea. They said come on over. And 2 years later, in 1906. Belgium produced this exact gun, and it was just called the FN 1906. Well, once they saw what the popularity was, Colt went, well wait a minute, maybe we were too hasty on rejecting that. So they started manufacturing the same gun. Matter of fact, I can take the grips off and switch them around, and the guns are almost practically totally identical. But anyway, came out, and his model is the 1908 Vest Pocket pistol. So it's an incredible wonderful little gun. This safety was everything back then, just as it should be today. And the first models had a double safety. It has a manual safety on the side, which also blocks the hammer and prevents the slide from being retracted. But it also has the grip safety, which, of course, is well known in the 1911 he invented.
Yeah.
And it has those two safeties. Well, to make it further, this gun that I have here, serial number-wise, it was made in 1914. So while the war was raging over in Europe, World War I, before our involvement, we were making these here in the United States. But in 1916, one of their engineers, Tansley was his name, came up with the idea of a magazine disconnect. And they wanted a super safe gun. They called it the triple safe gun. So on guns made towards the end of 1916 and certainly by 1917, when the magazine is out, that also automatically puts a safety on. So a magazine safety, a grip safety, and a manual safety. And this was basically their safety.
Kind of like a Glock, right?
But just 100 years earlier.
No, they don't have a grip safety on there. But anyway, but there it is. So nice little .25, which he invented the caliber. He invented the striker-fired successfully. There you go.
I just want to point out at this time, I would have loved to participated and contribute to this conversation had I had time to research the gun of the
All
week.
right.
Well, what are your thoughts on that?
So you haven't had time, so what's your thoughts?
Look at that grip safety.
My thoughts are that I had one that looked just like that, had the grip safety, had the manual safety on the side, had the magazine disconnect. It was called an Astra.
I beg your pardon?
Astra.
Oh.
Astra.
Didn't Astra make firearms for Colt or something?
Later on, they made a Colt
yeah.
Junior, which was a 25 caliber, and also it had 25. But they made that with Colt branding, but it was made by.
JC, great gun of the week. That is one of my favorites. I just love the compactness of it. And, the neat thing about that, I mean, all the neat safeties and the grip safety is really neat. And it's a great lead into our conversation after the news in that, 110 years ago, they thought it was adequate to be carrying a .25 caliber firearm. I mean, they thought it was something that was enough, or it was essential, adequate, basically.
It was adequate,
So when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about that. Talk about the .25 ACP, the 32, .22 long rifle, and the .22 Magnum. Are those firearms that have those calibers worth carrying? We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back right after the news.
It seems like every time I go into Allen's Coin Shop, I see something new. And when I really think about it, I think it's true. They have so much inventory, so many people in there collecting in the way that makes sense to them. It really is hard not to see something that you've never seen before. I mean, just with world coins, world currencies, there's always somebody working on a new country, and they find a piece, like, yay, I got another one for my collection. It's fun. And when you talk about U.S. coins, I mean, they've been making U.S. coins since 1793. And if you're working on the way back set, Allen's can help you. Copper pieces, silver pieces, gold pieces, things that make sense at the right price. And if you need a store to go along, the staff is so good. I mean, they've all been working the counter. They've heard a lot of stories, so they can share them and give you some real insight. And if not, reference books, holders, so you can protect the pieces that you're buying. I mean, they're the full service deal. So stop and see them. State Street in Westerville, or shop online at allensinc.com. Allen's Coin Shop, serving collectors since 1960.
News, traffic, and weather for Columbus. News Radio 610, WTVN.
The search for a missing 14-year-old boy in Carroll County came to an end Friday as his body was discovered in a shallow grave in Washington Township. Carroll County Coroner Mandel Haas.
I have met with the family, and as you might imagine, this is a unimaginable grief of epic levels that can't be put into words. So they did ask that we respect their privacy.
Jonathan Menard was last seen April 13th at a farm. Police say a person of interest has been questioned, but the case is still under investigation. And the annual Lyrid meteor shower will be visible this weekend. Experts say very early morning hours and late morning hours between 9 o'clock p.m. and midnight local time are the best opportunities to catch sight of the burning meteors, also known as shooting stars. Those times will also see the appearance of the Earth gazers, which are longer, slower meteors that leave a glowing trail for a few seconds after. I'm Kyle Cornell.
You've tried other flooring only to have to replace it again and again. Nature Stone is the only solution that will stand up to moisture, dampness, and even flooding. Never replace your basement flooring again. It's Mark Blazer for Nature Stone. You know, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, their true unconditional warranty. Russell's Promise ensures that all Nature Stone customers are satisfied with their experience. Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Like my friend Mike says, it's not just a floor. Wow!
I am here, sir.
Hey, you turn our mics on like right before we go on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I pot you guys up right before you go on.
Okay, because is it okay if I keep an open mic here just for Facebook people to hear during the commercials?
Yeah.
It's not going to go over the air until you do it.
No,
okay.
until I do it, that's when it goes on the air.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
When they leave, you're cleaned up and in perfect condition. And with Pella, you know you can trust them. Go to PellaColumbus.com now or call 877-98-PELLA.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios with JC from the sales team, Ronnie, who makes up Boom Boom Tactical, my father and co-owner Phil, always sits to my left. Guys, that song was God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash.
I don't think any of the guys heard the song.
Was that?
Because nobody's even back at their spots.
Welcome back. We need to get Pawpaw his headset that's portable.
Hey, they have those.
Do they?
A wireless headset. He can be anywhere in the building.
Pawpaw, we're going to get you a wireless headset so you can walk around wherever you want, wherever you go during the breaks, and come back, and you can talk wherever you're at. Yes, that was Johnny Cash. Something else, guys, I wanted to if you guys decide to come back to the show here, we're live. So, Pawpaw, you're back. So, guys, I always like neat little things. And did you guys see, and I know you did you guys see, here we go, if you're on Facebook.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we be a little more specific? Our flashlight gear geek has found another flashlight. That thing is really sweet, though.
And that is not longer than two little segments of your finger right there. Look at that.
This is
tiny.
550 lumens. And then check this. If you're on Facebook,
you could blind somebody. You could blind somebody with that.
Yeah.
And get away.
Here, Ronnie. Look, watch.
Ah,
and that's
dude.
daytime. Imagine at night when you hit that.
Look how
Nicey
small
little-
that is.
Little
That
blue
is- that
dots.
is just unbelievable.
Yeah, come check them out. I always am looking. I don't know how it's going to get any smaller, John. It's going to be like your fingernail. It's going to be.
Oh, they will, though. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, you just do an insert into your finger and point it.
Okay, how much is this?
I think it's in the 30s.
Really? Okay.
30s?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
worth
Okay.
it. Honey.
Yep, there you go. And
30s.
it has a little clip you can get. It has you can put on your keychain. It's
Does
just
the
incredible.
clip
Stick 'em to
comes
your
with
hat,
it,
your
though,
collar,
right?
your-
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so cool.
It's really incredible. It
Unbelievable.
truly is. I mean, I know we say this every time a new flashlight comes
Yeah,
out, but
this is, yeah.
hold
And
it in for a
I
second,
could,
Papa.
I could find a really
Doesn't
good.
work.
Hold it in.
I could find a really good use for that, like working on things that are small and put those on my visor.
Exactly.
And boom.
Exactly. And it's rechargeable by USB.
How you get the
Okay,
strobe?
now, so here, hit it again. That's the bright.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
And
That's
for
neat.
those of
That's
you in
pretty
Clintonville,
incredible.
USB stands for
Okay.
Universal
All
Serial
right, we
Bus.
should get back to our gun show. Okay. Oh,
That
we
is
could do
true.
a flashlight.
Yeah,
show.
Right.
that's
All
a-
right. How you
that's
turn it
what
off
I'll do.
now? Off. How you turn it off?
Just hold the button there.
3
Okay, got
seconds.
All right.
There you go.
We're on.
So, guys, we're going to do a flashlight show one of these days.
We should.
Mm-hmm. So,
Oh, sorry.
so where am I here? Jeezy, Pete. Have we
Wait,
done?
look at that. I
Have,
should
have
say
we,
that
have
gun
we
that I
done
showed
the
you was
weather?
made for 40 years. I should say that, and they made about 410,000 of them. You always read a wrong figure, but they skipped a lot of serial numbers.
Just real quick, people on Facebook are complaining that you're blinding them. So
I was wondering how that goes out on Facebook. Is it as bad when you see it through there
It's
as it
pretty
is
bright.
in person?
It's pretty bright.
Yeah,
Really?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it looked on my screen pretty bright. So, guys, it's that time of year when the weather is warm. We pull the shorts and T-shirts out of the closets and look to try and conceal a firearm with less options than in winter months. There are some extremely small 9mm now. You look at the SIG 365, and that is it almost makes this conversation obsolete because the viable 9mm are becoming smaller and smaller, and of course the 9 is certainly adequate.
More than that.
But if you look beyond that, you know, the 380 market, it's saturated with options, and the round has proven itself as adequate in stopping a fight with the right ammo and the shot placement time and time again. And there's some great options out there for the 380, and that's not to look beyond that. But if you need to go smaller than that, deeper concealment than that, is it viable?
Recoil sensitivity. We have
Or
to
recoil
realize
sensitivity.
It's all physics. No matter what the size of the gun, you're still going to have the same recoil coming back. If your gun is small and light, it's going to kick like a mule, which we've experienced in the 380s, and you may have to drop down to a 32.
So we're going to talk today about the 32, the 25, a little bit about the 22 Magnum and the 22 LR, which is not commonly thought of as something that you're going to carry to protect yourself. But the irony is that, you know, it wasn't that long ago, just 100 years ago, that the 25 or even the 22 short were in the vest pockets of many men. It was on the thighs of many ladies, you know, and it was considered adequate. And it's funny because when you look at it, it's not just the stopping power, but it's the combination of the stopping power, the mere presence of a firearm, and this, you can't underestimate the psychological effect of
looking down the barrel of any gun.
It's true. It's true. And we're gonna be going back and forth with some statistics from our good friend Greg Ellifretz, who did an article probably about 8-9 years ago now, where he concluded a 10-year study.
A 10-year study
on the adequacy of some of these calibers. And what you're gonna find, it is amazing. It's not what you think. So let's go and let's talk about the bigger of all of these, the 32. 32, JC, how long has it been around?
Oh, it's been around since like 1903 when they first came out with that cartridge. That's what Colt came out with that one, and
the hammerless,
beautiful gun, the hammerless.
Yeah,
yeah. It did have a hammer. They called it the hammerless, but it was internal and you couldn't see it. But yeah, it's been around since that long. So
I think I have three of them. I have the Sea Camp, I believe, is
correct.
32.
Yeah.
I have the North American Guardian.
Yep, North American Guardian.
30.
Yep.
I have your mom's revolver, Smith & Wesson.
A little bit different.
32 long.
Right.
I thought you had the Caltech also.
One
the
point.
Caltech P32.
At one point, Mom had one.
Yeah.
So I have one.
So I have several of them.
Yeah.
So the 32, I mean, it's one that's out there. The Caltech P32, JC, lightest gun.
Oh, it's the P32 Caltech weighs 7.8 ounces empty. It is just the lightest one of any of the things we're talking about. Loaded, it weighs 9 ounces with all the rounds in it, and that is like nothing. So when I'm on a bicycle, when I'm walking, anything, they do make a spring clip for that one. You just push out the one back pin, all the stuff comes with it, but you can put a spring clip, left or right-handed, stainless or blued, and you can stick it just anywhere, and it's its own holster.
Now,
So,
for the record,
beautiful.
is that the one that you fell on?
That did leave an impression on me.
Now,
yes.
which one is the one that you wear in your Speedos?
We're
when
getting
you
to that.
I have no Speedos.
That wouldn't be a good look.
No,
I don't
that's
think.
why I have none. So there
Okay.
are no Speedos.
Okay.
So, 32. When you look at what's out there as far as options on rounds, JC, there's some good, viable hollow points.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but man, even in 25, they make defensive rounds for this, and the big companies do. And what it does is they put some lighter bullets in there, but they're a hollow point. They come out at a much higher velocity. I know one of the companies, Corban, has one that goes 1,137 feet per second out of a short barrel. So that's really kicking out of
So
a
what kind
barrel.
of foot-pounds you talking on this?
On that one, with that, they drop it down weight-wise a little, but you're talking over 200 foot-pounds of sheer energy, which is not bad. Okay?
And a couple other 32 models that we kind of left out is the old Remington Model 51, the Walther PPK,
Right, and 32.
and the
PPK and
HK
32,
P7K3.
Right, so these are all ones that at the time, I mean, look at World War II, how many 32s there were there,
That
you
was
know?
that was a standard police cartridge.
So here's
32.
the interesting part, and this is coming from Mr. Greg's study. In his study, he looked at a number of fatal shootings and another number of shootings that weren't fatal. And when he looked at the 32 ACP, in his study, the number of people that were shot by it were 25. Number of hits were 38 on those 25. Here's where it gets interesting. The number of hits that were fatal were 21%. So keep that in mind. 21% of the hits with a 32 ACP were fatal.
Wow.
Here's where it gets interesting, guys. Flip on over to the 45 ACP. The number of hits that were fatal, 29%.
Now, in this study and the number of people, we have to take a look at that. So the number of people that were involved in the 32, there were 25 people, because it's not that much, but of the 25 people, that percentage of 21%. Much more people that were surveyed. That was 209 people with the 45, but 29%.
So look at how many hits per until incapacitation, JC.
29%.
No, how many
fatal,
hits?
But the number of hits for incapacitation is, I got that on my other sheet here. So for the 32, there were, the average around for incapacitation was 1.52 rounds. That's not much. I mean, 1.5 rounds per incapacitated.
And what is the 45?
But one shot stopping was 40% with the 32. So that was truly amazing. So when we go into the 45, the daunted 45 ACP, as you mentioned, 29% of the shots were fatal, but it took 2.08 rounds, so just a little bit more rounds for the 45 to stop than it did for the
32.
For the 32. So we're not looking. I mean, there are many things going on with this. One shot stopping was 39%, just slightly less than the other, but that's what stopped the fight. So again, nobody wants to get shot with anything. A lot of situations depend on what was going on, but at that time. But it is amazing. So no one's saying that the 32 is more powerful than the 45.
Yeah.
Don't take that home. But in those cases that he surveyed with the limited number of people, I think getting shot with anything would pretty much stop you.
I mean, we're not
take the fight out of you.
And we're not talking about knockdown power or anything. We're talking about stopping the aggression.
Right, and it's that physiological, thinking that I've been hit, and it's that psychological part of it that comes into play.
That's after you realize you've been hit.
Right, that comes into play. So, and, it's when if you're looking for something to walk around the neighborhood with, or for that deep carry, and when you really want it to be concealed, the 32 is not a bad round.
No, and especially if you're recoil sensitive, which you can become if you go to these lightweights. I mean, I have one of the P3ATs in 380 Kel-Tec along with the 32, and there's a massive amount of difference when you pull that trigger. One just hurts like crazy, and the other one's actually comfortable to
Same
shoot.
way in the C-Camps. I mean, my C-Camp 380 is completely different than your 32.
However, and we've noticed this when we hunt, when we used to hunt with a shotgun, you shoot a shotgun on a range or something, you're going to really feel the recoil. When you're out hunting and you're shooting after game, you'll shoot 3 rounds and
never remember it.
And you'll never remember. I mean, it's like you don't feel anything.
And if you're defending your life,
if
the
you're
FBI
defending your
says,
site,
the FBI in the interview said you remember the noise, you remember the flash of light, since 80-some% happens after dark. But they said people don't really remember the recoil. Yeah, I guess it was there, but
we're talking small, very deep cover calibers today. If you want to jump in on the conversation, 614-821-9886. Now, Ronnie, we're going to talk about 25 ACPs, and I know you've had
his favorite.
Yes.
So I get a lot of those in for cleaning.
There was a quote.
Yeah, the quote is from Colonel Jeff Cooper. John can tell you who he is. This is what he says.
Defensive handgun.
Carry a 25 if it makes you feel good, but do not ever load it. If you load it, you may shoot it. If you shoot it, you may hit somebody. And if you hit somebody and he finds out about it, he may be very angry with you. I love that quote.
I love that.
It is. It's probably, obviously, a little overstated. I mean, having something rather than nothing. But the 25 ACP, JC, it was your gun of the week. The box of ammo we have here is probably turn of the century.
That's
close to it.
And it's probably still shootable, to be honest with you. It's probably very good.
So let's talk about the 25 for a second.
Okay, the 25. All right, so you have to realize when Browning invented this, the 22 was still very popular. He just wanted something that was more reliable, and everyone knows even today we get some duds with the 22s, which is why we don't really recommend it for defense. But he said he wanted the smallest cartridge you could get and still use a small primer that was manufactured. So he invented this 25 caliber round with what? With the purpose of having the same stopping power and foot-pounds of energy as the 22 long rifle. So to do that, it was going to come out a little bit with this 2-inch barrel you're shooting. He knew he was going to have to up the velocity a little bit. But the weight of the bullet he put in was a 50-grain bullet versus the 40-grain in the long rifle. But with that, he said he equaled, that was his goal, was to equal the 22 in a reliable, dependable, rimless semi-automatic round.
So a little bit less foot-pounds, a little bit less velocity than the 32.
But about the same as a 22.
Right. Modern guns that shoot it these days, the C-Camp has their line that has that in it. Many older style. I mean, the Beretta, was it Tomcat?
Oh. Yeah, Tomcat.
Yeah, Tomcat 32 with a little pop-up barrel.
That's the one. For many years when I was a young officer, I carried in my pocket as a backup.
So did you think back then, I mean, were you ever worried about it not being, I mean, was it just something that was something more than nothing? And
it was just having a backup when, I lose the ability to use my sidearm, that I had that. And I carried that for years and years and years.
Yeah. Now look at us. Now we ponder it, and we have a different gun for the day of the week.
Phoenix Arms has a nice 25 caliber, the HP 25A.
Right.
And it's pretty decent.
It's a decent gun.
And I want to
weird safeties, but a decent gun.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you too, Eric, that when I was a young officer, I went in on a call where a person was shot with a 25, and I'm assuming that it stopped the aggression. And that person, I think, walked around for a little bit and went to lay on the sofa and died.
Really?
So did it scare your horse, Phil?
So
nice.
As we go into break, I mean, that's a great point. When you're talking about the 32, probably more so the 25, the 22, you might stop the fight, but you're not, someone's high on drugs, someone's in alcohol, you're not going to physically knock them over. And so it will eventually stop the aggression, but if they are...
one of the things you just have to look in context. These came out at the turn of the century. Think of what medicine was at the turn of the century. You didn't have your quick minute, go get a go to the ER. They're few and far between. You got shot in the gut with one of those, you're probably going to die slowly and a couple of weeks later. So
and so maybe that was part of the psychological effect.
Absolutely.
Back then you knew that this is a death sentence for me. Versus now these gangbangers are thinking, hey, look, I go get patched up, I'm right back on the street. So when we come back, we're going to continue the discussion. We're going to talk about the 22 LR and the 22 Magnum. You will be surprised at the 22 Magnum that it has a little bit of some qualities that may be worth looking at. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
What's now?
Right now.
Crisis at the border.
Real.
I grabbed men and blew by the shoulder.
You having a good time, Joe?
What's next?
What happened next?
We'll wait till the report comes out.
The full report.
The Green New Deal.
Losing health care.
2020.
What's history?
It's history.
Made history today. It's what's happening here. At the top and 30 minutes past the hour. What you want.
Everything is urgent here.
What you need.
What happens next?
It's what matters.
Today, tomorrow, and every day.
On News Radio 610, WTVN.
Get ready for the best prices of the year at Diamonds Direct. April 26th through 28th. A spectacular 3-day store-wide sale. Get Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price. Plus, an extra 20% off virtually everything. All wedding bands, all earrings, all pendants, bracelets, thousands of engagement rings. Plus, top designers are flying in with their entire collections. All on sale. It's the jewelry event of the year when they know they can break all the rules. Don't miss this. April 26th through 28th only. And
Same
only
temperature
at
there, sir?
Yes, sir. 52.
All right.
Has arrived, and Kurtz Brothers has a special opportunity for In the Garden listeners like you. Take 25% off your spring order of bulk or bagged mulch, soil, and leaf compost with us. That's right. We want to extend this special 25% off coupon to you. Visit kbcolumbus25.com. That's kbcolumbus25.com. Call 614-43-MULCH or visit our Dublin, Westerville, or Frank Road locations and mention this special offer. Kurtz Brothers, we want to make the good earth better.
Your ABC 6 first warning weather for today. On and off again, rain, cloudy and cool, high of 53. For tonight, rain is ending, still chilly though, low of 42. For Sunday, Easter Sunday starts to warm up, mostly cloudy and dry. It's going to get a little bit mild as the day goes on, high of 63. It is still currently 52 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
News Radio for Columbus, 610 WTVN.
How do we go from Johnny Cash to Welcome to the Jungle?
I don't know.
I like that.
There's a jungle out there.
It is.
Which is what you need to carry.
Well, you know what? We're going to use this several times over the next year to lead up to the presidential election because it is going to get crazy. Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios with my father, co-owner Phil. He sits to my left. JC from the sales team sits to my right. Ronnie, who makes up Boom Boom Tactical, is to my far right. And Joe is spinning the records back at the station.
All right, Joe.
Great job.
Just real quick, I just want to let you guys know that my birthday is coming up, and I was interested in this baby right here. You know, if you want to maybe get a what's that fund?
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Either that or your registry, your LAPD registry.
No, wait a second. You know, all these shows are archived and stuff, and I'm going to have to go back and look. But I think you held that up before Christmas. Did you not get enough?
And he still doesn't have it.
Was it the same one?
Yeah, I think so.
If our salespeople would sell it, then I won't be drawn to it.
It's hard when it's on your desk.
Yeah. Also, just real quick, in 2019 is when I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out of the closet. I am going to say a story.
Okay.
I'm going to tell a story.
All right. So
okay?
we'll start building that up.
Okay.
This is the year he's going to
This
tell
is
the
the
story.
year.
Do we need any specific flags?
Oh,
for the
I know what
background
story
or
it
anything?
is.
Oh, he
It'll
knows.
be a good story.
He
It'll be a
knows.
good
He
story. It'll
knows.
be a good. It will be a good
Oh,
story.
that
But
story?
today we're talking about small calibers, and are they right for carrying in that deep concealment? If you want to jump in, 614-821-9886 is the number. Guys, we don't have all that much time left, but .22 long rifle. JC, give us the down and dirty about it. It's amazing.
This is amazing.
The abilities.
Okay, so everyone goes, the 22, not viable. Well, this encompassed 22 shorts, 22 longs, and 22 long rifles in Greg's Elfitz's study, and involved 154 people. Of those, get this, 34% were fatal shots. 34%. And the average number of rounds until incapacitation, 1.38.
Whoa.
Of the 22.
Rounds. That's the 22. 34% fatalities. The number of people that weren't incapacitated was 31%. It was much higher for the 45, the people that were not incapacitated. I mean, it was amazing. So, any case, it was, and those percent that were incapacitated by one shot was 60%. With a 22.
So
again, the psychological effect of being shot
it is now
amazing.
Contrary to some of these other calibers where we recommend a hollow point. When you get to the 22, you need that penetration.
Absolutely. Never, if you're going to use it for defense, always use a solid point because you will not get enough velocity out of a handgun. And I don't care if it's a 4-inch barrel or 6-inch to really expand effectively. You want penetration. They happen to be the same size as blood vessels. And we had a doctor from OSU ER come in and tell us, he goes, he hates the 22 shots because you'll get hit in the arm, it'll enter a vein or an artery, end up in the brachial plexus or someplace else in the body, destroying all the tissue along the way. And it's a very, very effective round. So
22 Magnum starts to become a viable round. As you see here, I've been wearing it the whole show. Very tiny. The North American Arms has all kinds of options out there. You get increased.
That's a revolver.
That's
and
a
it's
revolver.
a revolver.
Yeah.
Wearing around your neck
revolver,
right there.
Stainless steel.
How many, 4 or 5?
6 or 5. I'm sorry.
5 shots.
5 shots. And it's got a safety built into it if you turn the cylinder, so it's totally safe.
And I'll leave you on this note, guys, because we're running out of time. This gun here, these one just like this, all stainless steel. JC wears it in his swim trunks in the pool.
Well, in the lake and in my
maybe
kayak,
not in the pool.
So, yeah.
His Speedos, right?
I don't want to have that deliverance experience, so I always have something with me when I'm out kayaking in the backwoods.
Leave you with that for the week. Happy Easter to everyone. Have a great Easter. We are closed tomorrow. All right. Back open normal hours on Tuesday. Show again next week. One of our last shows at 1 o'clock. Afterwards, we're just going to start going to noon. Have a great week. Have a great Easter.
Attend church. Thank you.
From the Elk and Elk Studios, if a medical mistake caused you an injury, call Elk and Elk at 1-800-ELK-OHIO. News Radio 610. WTVN.
Hey, it's Matt McCoy. Spring is here. That means no more putting off those home improvement projects. So if you've got leaky windows, take care of it now by calling my guys at Universal Windows Direct. The windows feature technology developed by NASA called Super Spacer, and you will feel the difference in your home. You know the deal. It's buy one window, get the next free with no limit, 0% financing for 36 months, plus a true lifetime warranty. Call now for your free in-home estimate, 614-221-0700, or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
Mr. Joe.
Universal Windows Direct.
I'm here, sir.
Franklin County
All
veterans.
right.
You and your family.
You ready when I am?
Yep, I got you. So whenever you're ready.
Here we go.
Protecting our freedom.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we keep you updated on the latest news and new products in the firearms industry, and I have the Gun of the Week, sponsored by Rampart Hosting. Tune in Saturday at 1 p.m. or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Care and transportation for medical visits. Even memorial and burial.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we keep you updated on the latest news and new products in the firearms market. I have the Gun of the Week, sponsored by Rampart Hosting. Tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just
This is
called.
Eric from
Her
OnTarget.
husband,
Today,
Ray,
we keep you
has a
updated on the latest news and new
life
products in the
insurance
firearms
policy
industry, and
that
I
is
have the Gun of the
changing
Week,
jobs
sponsored
and
by
can't
Rampart
take it with
Hosting.
them.
Tune in later
Well,
today
I
or
shop
live
the
from
many highly
LEPD
rated
Studios
term
on
life
Bethel
insurance
Road.
companies we represent, like Prudential and Mutual of Omaha.
All right, I got him.
Thank you, sir. Have a good Easter.
Hey, Eric. Next week, there's a. I won't be producing because there was a schedule change because we have a producer out on vacation. So I'll be in the morning. So you'll have a different guy producing your guys' show.
What? Who's it going to be?
It's Jim Oswald.